All right, you're welcome back. And our guests are Paulson Okeke. Paulson Okeke is a public affairs analyst. Good morning. Glad to have you.
Good morning. Good morning, viewers. Please join us this morning.
All right, we also have in our midst this morning God's own Onyeka Obieze, also a public affairs analyst. Good morning. All right, and we have Osta Eze. Osta Eze is also a public affairs analyst. Osta, glad to have you.
Thanks for having me. Good morning, Anambra.
All right, let's start with the stories making the headlines on ABS website this morning. Most stakeholders, free vaccination. Mrs. Soludo urges mothers to vaccinate infants against rotavirus. COOU
The Ojukwu University. Yeah, it is now, the full accreditation has now given the university full impetus to pursue their programs. Because most of the time they say when you go to school, the course or the program is not accredited. And you end up coming out as a graduate, but not being a full graduate because you are not unemployable. The course of study is not accredited in the particular university and becomes a problem to prospective students who will go to study a particular course. At the end of the day, you say the program is not accredited, therefore it's as good as you have not gone to school. But today, in the Chukwemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu University, our own Anambra State University, so to call it, their programs have been fully accredited. And that goes to say that any course of study you undertake in that particular university, that it is accredited and you are good to go in all field of learning. So it's congratulations, it's commendation to the management of Anambra State University and to the state government who makes the accreditation possible by funding the programs and making sure that all that are needed are provided to make sure that all the programs are accredited.
Okay. And I want to apologize to our guest, one of our guests, for giving you another identity this morning. You're welcome to the show, Chinedu Ekwono. Glad to have you.
Welcome, our viewers.
All right, quickly, we have other stories there trending on our website. So which of them would you want to talk about? We still have the free vaccination, and then ASATU President will be commending Anambra State government on promise to implement the 25 million naira community choose your project initiative.
Let me choose 25 million naira choose your project from the state government. You know this that 25 million naira choose your project initiative of the former administration is it's a noble idea that have placed Anambra State ahead of many other states, though there are some implementation problems experienced, but so far it proves about 90% successful. So I think continuing with it is, and adding 5 million to it, because initially it was 20 million. So it's a welcome development, and it's something worth continuing.
Okay, Oster.
Yeah, I believe the Choose Your Project initiative was just one of the steps taken by the state government to make up for not allowing local government system their full autonomy to operate, because when the local government system is fully operating, the state government will focus on some other issues that should be priority issues for them. Moving on, I would like to also thank the governor for continuing the free vaccination system that Obiano, his predecessor, started. This rotavirus used to cost around 8,000 to 10,000 naira in most hospitals, but right now that relief has been given to most families, especially now we're experiencing a lot of economic crunch. So it's kudos to Governor Soludo, and we pray that this system will continue and that it's going to be, some of this kind of relief will be extended to some other areas in the state, so that people will continue to feel the presence of, the government.
All right, thank you so much for that contribution. Just to let you know that you can be part of our discussion ongoing in our studio this morning. All you need to do is just to dial the number displayed in front of your television set this morning. Quickly, let's go over to our next paper, that is the Daily Sun newspaper. We have in front page of the Daily Sun as the banner headline, Clark calls for minister's arrest and trial over treason allegation, accuses Lai Mohammed of spreading fake news against Obi. And then concerns grow as Nigeria's foreign investments decline for third straight year, down to 20.5%. Kanu won't abandon struggle for Biafra, IPOB, queries Supreme Court silence over appeal. Tinubu Simbajo, Ajay Afibabalola Ojo eulogized Ajibola. And then we have there, any Muslim aspiring for Senate President disrespectful to leaders, Buhari, Tinubu, APC, National Working Committee member, why Carlos should occupy the seat. Ebonyi Oba, PDP, differ on 2023 polls, so rally support for Governor-elect Mifuru. Can slams makers of pig milk over insensitive Good Friday adverts. Obedience must bear attacks as sacrifice for new Nigeria. Obi says efforts to demarket movement will fail. Okay, these and some other headlines are what we have in the front page of the Daily Sun this morning. Let's start with you, Paulson.
Yeah, I want to look at the front banner. Clark calls for minister's arrest, trial, and over treason. Yeah, if you look at that story, and if you, for who has been following it, our Minister for Information is one man we know that has told a lot of lies in this country. If you remember in 2015, before the presidential election, at the ascendancy of Muhammadu Buhari as the president, Lai Mohammed was one man who took it upon himself to create tension in this country. He said all manner of things that could not be said. But due to the leniency of the former president, Jonathan, he tolerated him. This man hates the political system so much so that you think that Nigeria will not survive the next day. But eventually, the government of Goodluck Jonathan was so amenable to reasons. He called them campaign because according to him then, he said that his political ambition is not worth the blood of one Nigerian. And that was very, very sensitive. The monkeys and baboons soaking the blood uttered by the current president during the campaign were things that were said that created palpable fears amongst Nigerians. But all those things came and they passed. We remained. Now, after this election, the campaign, the presidential candidate of Labour, I've not heard him say anything anywhere. But Lai Mohammed, in his normal nature of creating confusion, went to faraway America to grant interview. He did not say it in Nigeria. He did not say it. But he went to faraway America to say that Obi's utterances and the body attitude is capable of causing confusion in this country, and his movement, obedient movement, that they are liable of causing problems, causing tensions, therefore they should be charged for treasonable felony. I don't know if Lai Mohammed knows all it takes to prove that when a man causes treason in this country. But he has created that problem and he's overheating it. First of all, there was this doctored tape, according to them, telephone conversation between the presidential candidate of Labour and the general overseer of Winners. That one trended until Obi came out to say, it is not true, it is fake. You see, these people have reasons, and they are experienced in cooking up stories all to disparage their political opponents. And that was how they disparaged Jonathan. And today, let us have peace in this country. They should stop creating tensions, because they are the ones who will create tension, and they are the same people who will come here to say this man is creating problem. They know what is called hate speech because they manufactured hate speech, and they are now using it to hunt Nigerians. It is not how to politic. And yesterday, if you are watching Channels Television, Shegun Akinbaloye, one Garuba Adamu also was talking, and one day we are talking, you will discover that APC as a government or as a political party do not mean well for this country. Because one day we are talking about how to share political offices. No mention was made of the Southeast. And that will tell you whether these people meant well for this country. I want to end it here.
All right. We have other headlines. Chinedu, which of those headlines would you want to comment on? We still have about concerns grow as Nigeria's foreign investment declined for third straight year, down to 20.5%.
Talking about the economy, Nigerian economy, it's a fact that our foreign investment will be declining because investors cannot invest in a place where there's insecurity. Policies, somersaults, and I don't think nothing will encourage that foreign investment in the first place. So that it is declining, to me, it's not a new thing. Because the government has not planned anything to sustain our economy. We're talking about diversifying our economy, talking about industrialization, agriculture, and everything. All these things have been politicized. Now, even the oil we have, our refineries are not working. So how do you expect foreign direct investment? Are they coming in here to waste their money? Our banks, we have a lot of things. We talk about change of currency and money hoarding. We have a lot of problems here. So Nigeria is not just conducive for that foreign direct investment. So we wouldn't expect more. It's normal. Maybe we pray we have a government that will sit down and analyze what our economic policies will be and how we'll attract foreign investment. That's my take on it.
All right. Osa?
Yeah. Let me look at Kanu won't abandon struggle for Biafra. That was a statement attributed to the IPOB.
They said he won't.
Won't, yes. So you see, just like my co-discussants have mentioned, the system has encouraged some of these things to continue happen, has encouraged people to continue considering secession because the government in power has shown that they don't mean well for the people. Our economy is dwindling down. There is massive emigration of people from Nigeria looking for greener pastures. The other day, we saw it on the news that a certain country has been trying to retrieve certain persons that were trying to come into their country via the sea and God's what do they call it again? Stuck there at sea. So these are some of the things that goes to show that things are not working well, and that this impunity is being encouraged by those people, the principalities and powers that be. And that is why persons like the leaders of the IPOB have found it needful for them to continue asking that a part of the country goes on their own and looks for their own independence. So that is actually what's happening right now. You can see that from what happened after the elections, that the APC government does not really know what they are doing. They don't really believe that, they don't really understand the need to do things right. They gave us high hopes and they dashed the hopes at the rocks. But I'm happy that the youths are now more conscious. If you go on Twitter, what's happening every second, you find out that more evidence is coming out to show that the elections were mutilated, and the results of elections were mutilated, and that who they've placed as the president-elect is actually the president-select. And that is the reason the IPOB keeps saying this thing. Yesterday, I saw the other man that stays in Finland calling himself the prime minister of the the government of Biafra in exile. And we know the impunity that he has cost the Southeasterners over the years. People that have been killed, businesses that have been shut down or that have left the Southeast because of the level of insecurity he brought in. And this has been encouraged by the government that be, because if government has been doing what they are supposed to do, these things will not happen. People will not be listening to persons like this, all right? And everybody will be working towards a better Nigeria. But we can see how things are, and we're in God's hands. I don't know how many people. I have more than 30% of my friends right now are no longer in Nigeria. And I'm sure that every single one of us here have one person or the other who has left the country, all right? And more people are planning to leave. So what does that tell you? All right?
Osta, I hope you're not planning to leave as well. Quickly, let's go over to the next paper. That's the National Star newspaper this morning. Then the banner headline there says, "No going back on resolve to free Nigeria from state capture. Obi urges supporters to remain peaceful and law-abiding. Labour Party exposes how APC used SMPS Arabambi to destabilize party. Easter, Khan asks Peak Milk to withdraw offensive Good Friday advert." And then treason, PANDEF leader Clark wants Lai Mohammed prosecuted over fake news. 2023 poll, group wants INEC chairman Mahmood sacked. MPA needs 69 billion naira to renovate Tinkan, Apapa, Calabar, and other ports. Federal government reiterates commitment to address inequalities in Niger Delta region. APC asks tribunal to dismiss 3 opposition parties' petition against Tinubu. And then APC rejects autumn's bogus retirement benefits to self. Federal government 320 billion naira TED fund grant, highest in 30 years, BMO. UK blocks recruitment of doctors from Nigeria and others. And then Yahoo boy stoned to death after killing 2 in Ondo accident. Interesting headlines.
Yeah, I say we want to look at the front banner as well.
Okay.
Why Obi wants to recapture Nigeria, because retrieve from those who captured Nigeria. Yeah, if you look at that banner and you look in between the lines, you'll agree with him, because Nigeria is held by the jugular. These people, ndị atọdụla obodo a naanị, atọdụla anyị n'onu, ndị ekwere n'obodo a ga-eku ume. And because Nigerians want to free themselves, that is why they saw Obi as the man who will lead them and voted for him. But INEC said no. Because if you look at the way APC has run this country, you will know that this country will not survive the next 4 years. And you went back to the way PDP ran this country as well, you will know that there is no hope for this country. That the only hope that is left for this country is to look for a middle course. And that was why Nigerians went for labor. And that was why the youth who believed that their future, if left in the hands of these 2 parties, will continue to nosedive. And that was why the youth gathered together and followed Obi, who provided them a forum to come out and exercise themselves, believing that he will create a new Nigeria for them, a Nigeria where they can live and survive and stop migrating to overseas. But that establishment, that powers that be refused, because they have milked this country dry and they want to continue milking it. That's the problem we have. And that is the struggle we have now. They are now following Obi, cooking all manner of stories to disparage him. That is one unfortunate thing. Because they have seen a man whom Nigerians trust, whom Nigerians believe in, and supported him so much. But they don't want that their pipe with which they milk this country to be blocked. That is the problem.
Okay.
So Keyamo will go there and talk nonsense. Lai Mohammed will go there and talk nonsense. Bayo Onanuga will go there and talk all manner of things. They cook all manner of stories, all in the name to undo labor. They sponsor executives against the current executive. They are doing all manner of things. But again, they say, he who is one with God is majority.
All right.
I should believe that God will continue to be with him.
Okay. Chinedu, do you have a different opinion from what he said?
No.
Okay, so let's look at APC asking tribunal to dismiss 3 opposition parties petitioning against Tinubu.
Normally, that is what is expected of them. That is a normal process of law. Under normal circumstance, they will not accept that they committed an offense they are being charged for. So asking the court to dismiss those things, that is what they are supposed to do. So to me, it's not a problem. What I want us to do is that let's plead with our justices of the Supreme Court and the Appeal Court to live up to the duties. Let them leave a legacy of justice in this country. Let them prove to us that all has not ended with Nigeria. Let's see that there's still hope in Nigeria. So under normal circumstances, what they've done, asking to dismiss it, that is the preliminary response they will have on the issue. It is determined and they are fairly heard. And then, there's one other topic that interests me and from the ones who called about TED Fund.
Okay.
Because that concerns me personally as a lecturer. The 320 billion that was, they said it is the highest in the
30 years.
In the 30 years since Nigeria was created. It's very, very good. But my question is that part of the promises they made to ASU, or are they using the 320 billion to bribe ASU? Because I can't just understand what they're talking about. We have an issue at stake. As we are talking to you now, lecturers of the federal universities in Nigeria owed 8 months. We're not talking about the salaries of these families. We're talking about a lot of other problems we are facing in the Nigerian universities. Now you're releasing 320 billion to TED Fund. And even from the details of how they shared it, it was about 50% of it that they shared. The other 50% have not been assigned any role. So what people like us want to understand is if it is a part of the bargain or a part of the deceit that made ASU to call off their strike. Nigerians, my problem with most of our leaders is that they are not honest. Voting 320 billion to TED Fund, very, very good. At least TED Fund is a product of previous strikes by ASU. Now, but talking about the promises you made before the strike was called off, nobody is talking about it. The other day, the national chairman ASU was saying that the federal government has not invited them to a meeting since the strike was called off. But we were talking about let them call off, let's sit down and dialogue, and since then, nothing is happening about it. Now, you brought about 320 billion TED Fund. Let's see what they are trying to do with it, but we need to talk about our universities and hit the nail at the head and decide what to do about it.
Okay. Let's go over to the next paper. That's the Punch newspaper this morning. APC kicks us nothing. Senators insist on Senate presidency. Ndume Kano, Niger senators poised to contest, says Senate needs competent hands. Any Muslim aspiring to be Senate president lacks respect for Constitution. Vice Chair, APC yet to decide on zoning, but won't allow another Saraki Dogara scenario, says spokesman. Buhari should suspend fuel subsidy removal, declare marketers. UK restriction can't stop doctors' migration, NMA and NART. Port reconstruction will cost $800 million, says MPA boss. And then we have down there, enumerators indicted for sexual harassment will be dismissed, MPC. Police arrest a suspect in Instagram clothes vendor's death. Nigerians' unemployment rate to hit 41% in 2023. This is coming from KPMG. Oscar, quickly.
This headline that I wanted to talk about in the previous paper, let me quickly do that before I move on to this. It's about Khan making a mountain out of a molehill of a peak milk advert that was released on Good Friday. Now I've looked at that advert, I've tried to be as objective as possible about that advert, and I've discovered that there was no need making so much of it when worse things are happening in Christendom and the Khan has not said anything about it. There have been several cases of pastors, heads of churches, taking advantage of people's vulnerability and making mess of families, and Khan has never made any statement against it. And this is a creative person doing an advert in honor of Good Friday, what Good Friday is about, and they are making so much out of it. I mean, they should be ashamed of themselves. They are the reason our society, they are part of the reason our society is the way it is, the misplaced value we have in our society today. And they are not saying anything about it because of the way they modeled up the doctrines of the Bible to continue to fleece the common man so that they will continue living in the kind of affluence they live in at the expense of the common man. And then peak milk that's been providing at least healthy food for the people did an advert and are making so much of it. When meanwhile a lot of fake products are being made, alcoholic beverages are being encouraged in the Christian community, and nobody is saying anything about it. So I'm really ashamed that I'm calling myself a Christian, and this is the only thing Khan is concerned about. How has that advert influenced the common man? So this is one thing I want to talk about. Now moving on to one of the topics that I'll have here about enumerators that will be accused of sexual harassment to be dismissed. Part of how these enumerators will be discouraged from doing this is ensuring that they actually move in groups, and are ensuring that they are not allowed to attend to the people that they enumerate in private. I believe that's how they can forestall any form of sexual harassment. Thank you.
Okay, let's quickly see what we have in the front page of the Daily Independent. Arrest Lai Mohammed over fake news against Obi. We've seen that in other papers. This is coming from Clark. Says he's stoking embers of fire that may consume Nigeria. UK places Nigeria on red list for health workers recruitment. Group tackles Soyinka, accuses him of witch hunt. Kidnapped Nasarawa ex-deputy governor regains freedom. Dangote built Nigeria's reputation, prestige globally, says Buhari. President to perform last official Hajj in Saudi Arabia leaves today. 2 killed in Zamfara as police battle bandits. And then we still have down there, gunmen kill policeman, injure 3 other officers in Ikorodu. Nigeria's unemployment rate may hit 40.6% in 2023.
Yeah, I want to talk about the group that attacked Soyinka. Our revered Kungi is the man, the Nobel laureate. He's one man in this country many Nigerians, including myself, have tremendous respect for. Because his views on national issues matter so much. Men like that rarely talk, but when they talk, everybody listens. But since the government of this APC, Kungi rarely talks. If he talks on other things, but not on the goings on in the country. Until recently, his paymaster, we call him, won an election fraudulently. He never spoke about the election. He never spoke about the process. He never spoke on anything. Like when the argument Muslim ticket was raging, Kungi never talked. When they were talking about the credibility of the candidate, his qualifications and the rest of it, Kungi never talked. But he found it convenient to talk when Obedience began to release documents and say things about the candidate. Kungi chose to keep quiet all along. He should have kept that quiet than joining the foray of the people who are defending Tinubu. Not until the current video that is circulating, Tinubu had helped him get license for importation of rice. from Taiwan or wherever into Africa, we say, oh, is he now why he is defending him? Men who live in glass houses should not throw stones. Otherwise, let us begin to call spade by its name. People like Wole Soyinka, a man well respected across the globe, should respect himself as well. Because the Igbos have that saying that he who brought ant-infested firewood has invited lizard to feast in his compound. Soyinka is a man, by all standards, all disobedience should not be talking to. But if he descends to the level of the obedience and begin to join issue with them, begin to describe them as headless bodies, you don't expect them to be applauding you. You don't expect them to be hugging you. All you expect, because he will say, no, 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 if you talk to them, describe them as headless body that is capable of bringing Peter Obi down, because you said you had told Peter that his group will bring him down. Fine, you have told him, go to your house and rest. Let them bring him down. But I thank the obedience, because it is the obedience that made us to know the veracity of the crime committed in this election. And that is why many Nigerians are today fully aware of the way this election is conducted. Because they were all using their phones, monitoring the election from point to point and posting it. And that is one good thing about this election. So at the end of the day, everybody has seen that the election was manipulated. The promise given to us by Mahmoud Yakubu was not kept. And that is the problem we have in this country. And today, people have risen to the defense of the president-elect. But let us see how far it will go. Because Mahmoud said go to court. And Peter has gone to court. And the people are not sleeping. I wish that the judiciary, the last arbiter of hope, will restore for once their battered image. So when they say APC is on trial, I will say APC is not on trial. It is the judiciary that is on trial, because all eyes are on the judiciary.
All right. Chinedu, what's also your opinion on that particular headline talking about UK places Nigeria on red list for health workers recruitment?
On that, but let me just add to what
Okay.
my brother
ahead.
has just said, and before I proceed, I watched Soyinka's interview, and truly I respect him, and I revered him. But from that day, I saw that ethnic card being played. I was expecting him to condemn certain things and be objective to an extent, but I was disappointed I didn't see. He was taken out on dirty and obedience. But I was waiting to hear the actual thing from him, the violence, the hate speech, the voter suppression, intimidation, and every other thing that happened, especially in Lagos and Port Harcourt. He never made mention of it, and it's a cause for concern. So, and now what is getting back in turn is just what he that's I think people tell you that no, if only Toluna Avian and Natalia Abia, I think that is just what he's getting. So on the issue of UK red alert on employment, I really don't know what's happening. Because UK, the Western world have been, to an extent, an employment pool for Nigerians. Because I think in one of the headlines, it was mentioned that employment rate is about 42% or something in
Yes.
Nigeria. And even I don't even believe in that 42%. Unemployment rate should be about 60% in Nigeria. A lot of people are unemployed. There are people that are just keeping themselves busy, not that they are employed.
And some are underemployed.
People are underemployed. People that are working for 15,000 or 20,000 naira a month in Nigeria, are they employed? Transportation to just, if it is 200 naira for transportation to wherever you are working and you're paid 20,000, that means you're not working. That is just a waste of time. So I'll say it is about 60-70% of unemployment that we have. And for UK to block the medical thing, and I don't really just know what will happen, because Nigeria has no plans for its citizens. Our hospitals, our health facilities are nothing to write home about, and I don't even care. Sometimes I'll begin to ask, the health ministry in the state and the federal has always been manned by doctors that are professionals, that are in the field, that even after leaving office, they go back to that field. But I've not seen any improvement in our health sector. That is just a clear thing. Look at what happened to Ekweremadu. I was telling somebody the other day that if Ekweremadu had attracted a very good hospital or a department at UNTH in his Enugu state, he wouldn't have gone into this mess. And that happens. If I have my way, there should be a law on all this medical vacation. I tell you, every counselor goes abroad for medication. Whoever that is employed today goes to he went. Our president-elect is on health vacation. Doctor, what kind of rubbish is that? What do they have there that we don't have here? Most of the doctors treating them in US and in UK are Nigerians. It's just the facility. Our people are wicked. So when they talk about not giving our people a job, it is the poor masses that will suffer. That is just the case. Because here in Nigeria, there's no hope in our health sector.
All right, quickly, we have This Day, The Nation, and Daily Trust newspapers remaining, and we are going to take them together. So what we have first is the This Day newspaper. With 50 days to go, Buhari defends choice of service chiefs. Knox Cooker, again, insists Clery cooks only bad news. Wanton killings remain Buhari's lowest point, state additional. His ailment was a setback, presidency admit. Tinubu eulogizes Afenifere leader Ayo Adebanjo at 95. And then we still have the INEC replies APP, says electronic collation of results not mandatory. And then the next paper is the Nation newspaper. APC INEC to poll tribunal, Obi's petition a waste of time. Labour Party's candidate was PDP member when he picked ticket. Election conducted in compliance with Electoral Act, agencies insist. The Bola Ajibola I knew by Babalola, okay. Cash flow from banks still low, says NLC. National Assembly, APC governor seeks urgent action on zoning. Headline positions by aspirants worry, and National Working Committee. Pre-poll, how Tinubu scaled 18 landmines in court. NMA seeks better environment for doctors' orders to operate. And finally, Daily Trust newspaper, consumers groan over epileptic power supply. Situation worsening, heat, access to water amid Ramadan. Muslim clerics faithful accuse discos of sabotage. World Bank to advocate debt restructuring for developing countries. And then we still have down there, resident doctors reject bill mandating 5-year service for doctors. Oster.
Yeah, you see, the World Bank is advocating for debt restructuring for developing countries. Well, beyond that, I believe they also need to look at the kind of economic advice that they give to countries that they give, loans to, because I know that the IMF, International Monetary Fund, part of the conditions they give for giving loans is that they influence how you control your economy. And one of the ways they've done that for Nigeria is by asking Nigerian government over the years, over the decades, we even read that in O-level economics, to devalue the naira. And we can see how the effect of devaluing the naira over the years. So I'm not sure that the Western world means well for Nigeria. So for them to start advising for debt restructuring and all that is just doing a facelift of the rot that they are causing in the country. We can see we've seen in the news, since people have started becoming more aware of what's happening in the country, we've seen in the news that it is these same Western worlds that are coming into this country to siphon some of our mineral resources behind our backs. There are no records of these things. Of course, aided and abetted by these corrupt people in government, which the masses want to oust out of office, and they are insisting that they are going to stay there. So, so they should not tell us about debt restructuring. We are not even supposed to be indebted to them in the first place. We are better. We have more resources than them. We are more blessed than them, weather-wise and all whatnot.
Well,
so
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Yeah.
But then again, when we have leaders that doesn't even have the interest of the masses at heart, what do you expect from them?
That is the essence of the revolution that is going on right now, and that's why we are not giving up until we get the right person in seats.
All right, quickly, from you, Paulson.
Yeah, I want to join Nigerians and others who are commending or congratulating the Afenifere leader, Padesanya, at 95. The man is so quintessential to me because the man has demonstrated that he's a true Nigerian who believes in justice, equity, and fair play. If you look at the power play in this country, this man has remained one man who is rooting for Southeast president. Because he believed the Yorubas have taken their turn, the Hausas have taken their turn, then it remains the Igbos. Because Nigeria stands on the tripod of Hausa, Igbo, and the Yoruba. So that it is very wrong for the Yorubas to take and retake. Igbo,
all right.
But that is what they have done. And Nigerians, unfortunately, most Nigerians, including our own brothers, are supporting them. That is the heart-rendering thing in the whole episode. That people whose share has been taken away from them are supporting those who took away their shares, telling you that we are not prepared yet. My brother, when are you going to be prepared?
All right.
To take your share? Okegi do no ogbo isiri idro kwadobe ira lo okegi kedu mgbe ị ga-aratazi okegi ajụka na ajụ ndị bai.
Well, thank you so much for that. Chinedu, let's quickly talk about the cash flow from banks still low. This is coming from NLC, and they are still awaiting the reports. Of course, you know that they planned to go on a protest as talking about this cash crunch in our society.
It's just amusing what is happening in Nigeria, because things that are not supposed to be problems are problems in Nigeria. When CBN and the presidency decided to change our currency, which is a normal thing, I wonder what they had in mind. You didn't have plans of how to circulate the currency, the withdrawal plan, and how you inject the new notes. But unfortunately, I'll still argue that the new notes were not there. Because even now that they said it has been released, nothing is there. It is still the old notes. We have only about 1% of that new note in circulation. So it shows they were not even prepared for changing the circulation. Now, what we are having, they said for over 1 week now, the CBN said they've brought money everywhere. When I was even coming to this studio, I saw people hanging in banks as if they were beggars just to collect their own money. I don't know how things function in this country. We need a change in leadership.
All right. Well, on that note, we want to say a very big thank you to all of you for joining us on Press Review this morning. Thank you so much, Paulson, for being here.
Thank you very much.
And you, Chinedu, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Osta, it's been a pleasure having you right
Always
here.
my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Okay, and that's it on this show this morning, a Press Review. Thank you so much for being part of it. We are going on a short break, and when we come back, we'll see you at the other side. Stay with us.